Let's dive into some altcoins today. We'll be taking a look at what tokens you might want to set up for 2025 as we near an altcoin season. I think you guys will love this one. My name is Paul Barrow. Welcome back into Tech Path. Joining me today, of course, is Evan Aldo. We are going to break down some crazy altcoins.
Yes, we are.
So the cool thing is that you have a lot of people who are maybe have not entered any altcoin plays as of yet.
Sure.
And we may have a window here where we get a shot at a handful for a nice little run, and we'll give those as a breakdown. I do want to thank our sponsor. That is Coinbase. If you want to trade some of these altcoins, one of the places you can do it is over on Coinbase. Just go over to coinbase.com. The future of money is here. The cool thing is you guys can get $200 in crypto if you use our link down below. And it's a great place. If you're brand new to crypto, go check it out. If you are an OG and you've been around crypto, maybe you want to try something out besides some of the exchanges you've been on, Coinbase is a place to go. Check it out. And of course, use our link. Let's get into a few topics today. I want to go on to Jupiter. We'll lead off with that. So Jupiter, as you guys know, is a DEX. They've started to integrate with a handful of others. And also the thing about, obviously with Jupiter being a Solana, pretty much the genesis of the Solana meme coin run. Sure. When you look at Jupe right now on this, do you like it or you don't like it?
I think it's a good bet. I think it's a good bet. I'm being as objective as possible. I know it's my least favorite pattern, but It is the head and shoulder pattern right here. We could jump off of this, this low right here, which is a big point that we're testing currently, right around 75 cents. If we lose that, we're going to be looking at around 60 cents, which if Bitcoin does go to 50K, keeps going down a little bit over the next few weeks into the FOMC meeting, I could see this going to 60 cents, which is going to be kind of a full bubble pop pattern, which is essentially go up all the way, go all the way up, and then what goes up must come down, and that's the time to get in after everybody gives up because you went all the way back down.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, and if you're trading on memes, the DEX now extended its services by offering spot buying for new and risky meme tokens on Solana, so you can do that. And now you can buy directly into early liquidity tokens as well. So there are some, I think that will gain some traction, in terms of just, more traders starting to go in on Jupe, which will make it more interesting in terms of a token to hold, which I think is the key to kind of look at overall. Another one we've been watching and we've reported on a couple of times has been Hedera. Now, Hedera has got a lot happening within not only their management team, but also within the token itself, and many of the partnerships that they're doing. If you guys didn't check out our Hedera banking video we just dropped here a couple of days ago, go check that out. It's a very interesting video on where Hedera may be going in becoming one of the first crypto bank, or at least blockchains around banks. But do you like Hedera as a trade today?
So right now,
holding into 2025.
Yes, absolutely. 100, 1,000%. Well, not 1,000%. You got to be diversified because anything could happen. But if you look right here, let's just, the first thing we look at, if we can get anywhere near all-time highs, that's easily basically a 10x to all-time highs. If you could even get halfway to all-time highs, that's almost 300%. So that would be pretty good. You keep making higher lows here, which I like, and you're testing. So this is where it gets a little tricky. You're testing this big area, but what's just happened, which is pretty wild, we just got another yellow X, which is generally a dump signal on our 3-day. Your money flow is still pointing downwards, so it does seem like we may get back to this, August 7th low right here, right around 4.5 cents, which could be a big area. I don't think you're going to go much lower than that, but I think we need a little bit more of a liquidity grab here over the next few weeks into the FOMC meeting potentially, and then getting back to this really big place around 4.5. So right now, I would be careful. You're coming into a weekend, a Labor Day weekend. Market's not going to be open for 3 days. It could be bad for the next few weeks, but I think you could get a big jump up off of 4.5 cents here.
If you look at their quarter 2 report, revenue was up 26%, daily transactions up 46%, daily account creation up 31%. They're growing. So that's the key that I think a lot of blockchains, as you start to see growth, if you're looking at long-term holding, and of course the key here with them, I know they have a management shakeup and everybody's going to talk about that in the comments most likely, but that's typical. Maybe they are queuing up for a huge shift forward on a new management or a couple of key management positions that could play this out. So I'm watching it very closely. The other one I'm looking at is Optimism. Sony is launching its first public testnet for its Optimism-based Sonium blockchain. We've done a couple of videos on this. We just dropped one the other day. I'm very pro Optimism right now as one of the base projects that I think could really, I think, attract a lot of new players on it. Maybe new people that haven't really invested in it before. What do you think?
I like Optimism. I think it looks good, on the macro for the charts. I mean, you keep making higher lows, which is good. I think you got a good shot of, over the next year, 6 months to next year, getting at least up to $4. I mean, maybe even more. Long-term price predictions on a lot of these could be really high. I mean, you can get up to some of the fib levels. I mean, $7, $10 is absolutely possible, and probably at the maximum I could see it's going maybe $15, about a 10x from here. So, a lot could absolutely happen here. Now, for the shorter term, we have to be objective. I mean, a lot of these do look a little bit more bearish, especially on our 2-day right here. Money flow not looking too good. If we look at these RSIs, see how they're gapped and they came down there. I don't think it's going to be this catastrophic where you come down, this much, but I think it could be, about half of that, and maybe coming back to these lows, maybe retesting, maybe even losing that and getting a big liquidity grab right around $1. It seems like when you come that close to that area, there's a big buy wall there. A lot of people want to get in at that dollar. Sometimes they can make it come down to get that liquidity grab at that area. So that's what I'm looking at for the short term. We could dodge that bullet like all of these. We could dodge that bullet. Maybe a trigger wave here on your 12-day kind of saves the day, and we come up from that point. It's impossible to know exactly what's going to happen, but there's a good shot there. But as of right now, I would be careful, especially coming into the Labor Day weekend. Maybe wait until Tuesday, see what the markets do. But I mean, short term does look good on some of these. So I mean, it's a risky bet. You could try to buy the fear here, but it's risky.
Well, I think the key here is it the right place to enter based on a 2025 holding strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. DCA.
If you look at that, one that I've been tracking for quite some time has been Uniswap, and the reason is the fall off that we've seen right here on my chart. And also a little bit of this bounce sideways, and I'm on the daily. Right now, everything's kind of pointing to a little bit more of a positive uptrend, at least on the daily. Uniswap, of course, came down over the last 3 days on this money flow coming in a little bit more. I've been looking to acquire more of this. Is it the time to do it, Evan? Have we reached the bottom?
DCA from now until the second rate cut, I think, for most of these. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now we got to look at it. I mean, you're hitting a huge point right here. I would hope that we could hold this point, but part of me says that price wants to scare us away a little bit more and come down to 476, especially with this yellow X right here. I mean, look at previous ones. See right here, that one. I mean, that would point to potentially a drop down. Let's see here, a drop down to, if we draw this out, why isn't this going right here? Okay, there we go. So if we draw this out here and then map this out, that would bring us down to a slightly lower low, which I'm thinking you potentially have a slightly lower low, around 440, maybe one last test of $4 potentially. But, in the grand scheme of things, I think this could come up, a lot. And if we draw a fib level from the all-time high back here, all the way to the bottom here, I mean, if we can, even if you can't make new all-time highs and just get up to $35, that's huge. You could get up to, on the high end here, maybe $100 is possible. I mean, that's a 20x, so that's a lot. I'd be looking more at around $70. You would want a DCA out of this as you approach new all-time highs.
So Uniswap's still a position, possibly a position for 2025 as one of the winning altcoins. When I look at winning altcoins, 10x's on these are, there's going to be a handful that we see a 10x or greater.
Yep.
Are there any, double-digit X's for you, like 20x, 30x, that you're even kind of pointing small, portions of your portfolio at?
It would be more those smaller cap ones that you were maybe that that Jupiter one maybe. I mean, it's tougher for a 20, 30x. You're looking at stuff we probably most of us only heard of a little bit. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like what's happening in the Tron ecosystem right now. We played a little bit with Sun Wukong, which was a meme token on the Tron ecosystem. Thing ran up crazy. Probably a great chance to get, I think it was about a 4x on this little Tron spend, even though the meme tokens on Tron may start to continue to go down the potential. Those are not long-term holding, but if you are playing short-term, those are the kind of things to look at. Aave Labs, of course, V3 is debuted now on their ERA mainnet. So this is something that they continue to build on. We talked about this before the show. Why do you like Aave?
Aave is a little bit, Aave, tomato, but It does. It's holding up better in a lot of other things. You're still up to this point right around 126. Let's start with macro right here. I mean, 2-week. This is excellent. Little trigger wave coming up. I mean, your RSIs are still pointing up. Which, if we can break above where we are right now, 188 is big, and then after that, 260. And I think you'll get there at least, sometime in first half of next year. Short term, we could come down with everything else a little bit more, maybe retest 100 potentially. But I do like Aave, on the macro right now. I think it's a really good DCA. I had this open at a coffee shop the other day. Somebody saw it and said Aave is a great buy. So let's go with that.
Interesting. All right. Going with.
I don't know if that's a sell signal or.
It might be a sell signal.
Yeah.
All right. So Helium, one we've been watching. We've had the Helium team on here several times. This is one that I'm very focused in on, mainly because of its relationship to the mobile token and the opportunity. Because with Helium Mobile, this isn't necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about HNT. If you look at the current market cap of HNT, and you look all the way back into November of 2021, and where this is holding right now, around $1 billion, this one is one of those with its relationship to its growth in mobile, the potential for some potential move. And if you just look at the price position also, even though it's been running here in the last 30, 60 days, is it one that you would accumulate right now?
Yeah, I mean, with everything else, I wouldn't just be buying Helium. I think it's a DCA into November, into the end of the year. I mean, you are up a lot. There's some serious volatility with this. I mean, you
over
lost
the last
a lot
month.
I mean, look at this. Let's just look at how much this was first. About 147%. So in all likelihood, you're probably going to correct a little bit more than we already have. You went down, now you came up, now you're losing that level. It's bearish at the moment, because you got the trigger wave, money flows coming downward. It does look likely that you'd retest $6. $6 would be huge for me if we can get the $6. If you lose that, I'd probably lower, not worst case scenario, anything could happen, but one of the badder, more bearish paths would be, high 4s, low 5s, but I don't even think you'd come that low. I think you got a good shot of, continuing down a bit more, maybe retesting $6 and then continuing forward. I think there's a lot of good stuff with Helium right now. It looks likely that, we've been kind of range bound here. It looks likely that you're going to retest $7 or something in the short term and then reject from that and come down. Look at this trend reversal sign right here. You came down. Let's see what that was. If you repeat this situation, you come down. That's going to bring us potentially down to 635 sometime. That would be later today or something. Potentially. So yeah.
Okay, so this is one that I don't know if it will make the list, but it could. We are going to do an end-of-year portfolio probably right before the election in November. And this, I think, is going to be a time when you can really start to maybe take advantage of some of these lows that could occur going into 2025 and trying to make an altcoin play if you aren't exposed to some of these projects. One that you could also look at is a layer 2 on Bitcoin, because as Bitcoin starts to move, Stacks has almost moved with it. Stacks, of course, if you look back here in March, this thing was at 366 on price right now, and of course it's holding about $1.60 today, $1.56 right now, but up overall on the year. You look at the performance of Stacks right now in the short term. Is this something that you would do in correlation to hedge for Bitcoin? Yeah, I like Stacks right here. I mean, the super short term, I would be a tiny bit more bearish. This looks better on some other things though. Let's just see this trigger wave right here that we had in 2 week. That brought us up so much right here. And if we can repeat that, you get a new one forming and your money flow is going into the green. This looks more bullish than most other things we've looked at today. I mean, that could bring us up to $12 in the long run potentially. So it's about a 5x from there. I'd be surprised if we hit that as early as February 25, but some point in probably the second half of 25. Well, think about this though. If Bitcoin's running to, let's say, above 80 to 100, you're probably going to see, because we've seen correlation with Stacks and Bitcoin to a certain extent. There may be, this might be one of those that could run, right along with it as well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could see at $5 with Bitcoin's at 80K. I think you'd need 100K Bitcoin to get up to like $12 here to get to that big, what is that? Well, that would be a 10X, almost 10X, yeah.
Let's see, from the current price, that would be about a 600%. So getting close to that point. From the low, it would be closer to a 10X. But if we look at some of the lower time frames here, it does maybe forming some type of reverse head and shoulders, but I think that you'll probably at least retest this low at $1.39, just based on how some of these lower time frames look with the money flow coming down. Short term for these markets doesn't look the best. This may hold up pretty well though, but I think you will retest $1.29 at some point here. So yeah.
All right, last token I want to take a look at is Brett, and I think, let me see if I can pull up just their website or their Twitter account. Again, this is one of the top meme coins on Base. Base, I feel, even though we've on-chain summer somewhat over, do we see the Base tokens continue their run in the altcoins season, or do you feel like that would be something that maybe would stay away from Base tokens?
I think some of them would. I think there's going to be that place for meme coins. I just think there's always going to be. I mean, Brett, I look at it on the charts. If I like something good, I take it. You got a kind of a double top situation from this point at around 10 cents. You rejected. You're testing 8 cents right now. Larger time frames. You got the red dot in the 3-day. I don't know. It doesn't look too likely that we'd hold this place right now. And if you lose that area, it could come down to around 0.058 right there. If you zoom out a little bit, I mean, that would be a kind of full bubble pop pattern if you were to do that situation, make that kind of lower low or double bottom around the August 5 low. And then from there, you could have a lot of fun with this potentially and come up. I mean, it's going to take longer than October of 24, but you could come up 300% up to 25 cents there. On the high case, I mean, high case 56 cents at some point, 4 or 5x like a lot of other things potentially.
All right, so there's a bunch here to be taking a look at. We will continue to do some more portfolio analysis for you guys. Just take a look at some of these tokens we have and are in. Again, not financial advice, but if you're looking at really analyzing a lot of these altcoins and trying to position yourself into 2025, go out there, do your research, get into stuff you like, and maybe projects that are aligned with what you think is going to move. But hopefully this gives you a little bit of insights out there. Make sure and check out Evan's YouTube channel. And of course, we'll leave a link always down in below for Evan's courses, which you still do those.
Free course and a paid course.
Perfect. You guys can use that link down below to support Evan Aldo. And of course, if you're not already following me on X, make sure and do that. It's just @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.